Hi everyone, welcome to this video Alteryx hands-on practice questions. In this video, we will calculate the year over sales. So the date input will be provided by the user. Below are the tools which we will be using. Our dataset is from Kaggle and I'll give the link in the description box. We will be using the column number C, which is the order date, and column R, which is the sales. We'll produce this output, which is the sales report in PDF format. It will have the entire year's data and the year over year calculation. Now let's move on to Alteryx. Let me run this and show to you. Okay, before that, our dataset has data till 2018 only, so let's select something in that range. Let me select 15th of August 2018. So you see the output, we selected August 2018 and this report is giving us data from August 2017, which is the entire year. And here we have the year over year calculation. I hope this is clear. Now let's move on to the logic. First thing we will be using is the text input tool, where we will be giving any data or user data. After that, we will connect that to a date, which is from the interface tool here. Okay, we'll use the date. We can give any text to be displayed, so I'm giving here text, select the date. Next, we'll connect this and this. So you will have to connect this Q symbol to this lightning symbol, and this will generate the action. In the action, go deeper into data, select the value which is the date, and then select here replace this specific string. This is the value which we are going to replace. So when we are running this analytical app, whatever value the user provides, that value gets replaced with the value which is being set as a default in this workflow. Next thing is to get our data. So we'll get our input data, and this is a look of it. We will be changing the format of the date here. For that, we are using date time and we are converting this into DD, MM, YOY. Then we are using an append tool to append both of this the user input which is being passed and the input data which we have uploaded here. Now time for few calculated columns. So we'll use the formula tool to create the month number. Here we'll be using the date time format function. We'll pass in the date time out. This date time out is being created here. So the order date which is initially there, we convert it into date time out. So the order date was coming in this format. And we'll get the date time output in the Alteryx standard format, okay, which is YYYMMDD. Now from this date time out, we are extracting the month number. So for the first row, it is 11. So we will be using %m. For year, we'll use the same function. I will pass in y. For month name, we will be passing small b. For month and year, which is this format, I've used the toString to convert this into a string and use the same datetime format to extract the year, which is 2017, concatenate it with a and then add it to the month number here. The another important field which we'll be creating is the rolling 12 month. Here we'll be passing the user data. So in our example here, the default user data is 23rd April 2018. We'll take 12 months back, which will be adding minus 12, and we will add that in months. So you see 2017 April is being displayed here. Here I'm using the select to just change few of the data types, like rolling month is a date. You can do it here also, because since we're creating new, we could have done here also. So this is the place where you can change it. So you can adjust the data types or rename it accordingly, any step if you want. Next we're using a basic filter, where we'll be getting the records where the date time out is greater than equal to the 12 rolling month. Now let's check this. Our rolling month is coming as 2017 of April. And anything which is greater, so this record is November 2017, so this is greater. So anything which is greater is coming in the output. But to notice that here we are going to take 1 month of data, 1 year of data, but from 2017 if we take our last record is till 2018 here. We don't need everything from here. We would need only the rolling 12 months. Next, I'm using a summarize where I'll sum the sales and you can group by whatever fields you want. So I'm grouping here by month number and month name, month and year, everything. Next, I'm just sorting it based on the year and the month number. We cannot do sorting based on month name directly because it will be ordered in the alphabetical order. So now you see our first month is 2017 April and it goes to 2018 December, but we don't need up to that. We just need till 2018 April here, right? So another thing which I'm doing is adding a record ID to this. So after sorting, I'm adding a record ID. So every row here will have a unique identity starting from 1 and goes to 21. So next I can use just a sample tool to get the first 13. So if you see first 13, which gives a 2018 April, more than that we don't need, okay? The other records which were June, July, August, September, those data we don't need, so that gets filtered out using this sample tool. Once we have done, let's work on a structure now. So I'm using a cross tab where I'm not grouping anything. I'm just going to change the column headers, which will be month and year. We'll place the values for the new columns by sum of sales, and the method of aggregation would be sum. So this is how our output would look like starting from 2017 April to 2018 April. It's important to note that here, as I showed you in my output, we will be using names of the months and not the numbers. But for this step, we will be using the month year. The reason for this is when we are passing it using the render tool, it is going to sort it based on string values. So I have an example where I have used the same thing, but here the sorting is based, here I'm changing the month name column. So you see the output here, it gives April 2017, then April 2018. So it arranges in the alphabetic order, and this won't be correct. That's why we will not be using that. We will have to use the month and year, which is the month number here for the sorting purpose. Now, next thing is to calculate the year over year. So year over year, we know we will have to minus this record, which is on 18 April, to this record. But every time the user enters a different value, so we cannot manually enter that minus this record and this record, okay, column number headers, because column headers is dynamic here. So we'll be replacing all these column headers with some other numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a record ID here, and we'll minus that and again replace the values. So let's see that. To accomplish that, we will be using a field info. This doesn't do anything, it just displays the name, the data type, size, and the source tables and all. So here we get all the names of our columns. We'll create a record ID, so it's going to give each year and month a number. So we get 1 to 13 because we have 13 months here. Now we'll sort it based on the ascending order, which anyways it was, but sometimes you might need in descending order. That's why I have kept this step. Now we'll use a select. We'll select everything except the record ID. And we'll again pass it to a record ID. So again a new record gets created. We'll be using a dynamic rename. So this dynamic rename, for the L value, we will pass in the value which we want to replace. So as I have shown you, this is our output. We need to replace the column headers here. That will be in the L. In the R, we will pass with what we have to replace. The rename mode will be take the input or the field names from the right input rows. The right input row here is our record ID. And we're going to replace the name which is found in this record ID with the record name. Sorry, record name with the record ID. We'll give record name and the new field will be record ID. So now you see all these values got replaced with 1 to 13. Once this is done, we can easily do our year over year. So in case you have to do month over month, also you can do in the same manner. For the year over year, we'll have our 13th column minus the first column. This will be a double type and you see it's being created now. Now other thing is we need to replace this again, right, with the real month names. For that, I'm connecting to the record ID a multi-row formula. I'm creating a new field which will be of string type. We'll have to select this because by default it will be integer. And what I'm trying to do is I'm selecting the names from the record ID. So here you have the names, right? The same names are here. I'm checking if right of the name comma 2, which is 04 here, is equal to April, then APR plus left of the name comma 4. So this one is used for getting the year. So our new field will appear like this. This will get replaced to April 2017. This is May. This is again April 2018. Now we'll again use a dynamic rename. So we need to replace this 1, 2, 3 values. So we'll pass it to the L. And what we have to replace with, we'll have to replace with this multi-field, multi-formula tool, okay? But so we will again take field names from right input tools. In this case, we are going to replace the record IDs, which is 1, 2, 3, and which is in the L, which is passed in L, with the new field. So we'll select here new field. And now we get our output April, May, June, and we get our year over year. Now we'll use a table to just print this value. Here you're seeing missing because every time we run the workflow with a different one, it gets dynamically changed. One thing I have done here, do select the dynamic field, otherwise the new fields, because it's a dynamic value, right? New fields will not get selected. And year over year, I have pushed it to down by using this arrow to ensure that this appears at the last. Otherwise, it will be alphabetically ordered. Finally, I'm using a report header where I'm changing the title to sales report. I'm including the date in the report header. Format, you can select any format which you want. You have the drop down to select it. You can specify any custom image which you want. And finally, I have the render where I am displaying, choose a specific output file and I will save it as a PDF. Here in the data field, you can select the table. You will have to check this header, which is by default unselected, and you can select here the paper size is B3 because this is a quite big one. If you give some other size, it will not display properly. And so finally we get our output. I hope this was clear. If you found it helpful, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thank you so much for watching.